Well, good day, friends. I hope you're doing well. I'm Franky, and this is the Think Tank. Today, we're going to go over a few different things. The cops are now saying that even the family is not eliminated. We've got like a 3-minute escape route to talk about. How the media is basically treating these families and doxing them. So let's just get into this and talk about what's been going on in the last 24. So let's start with Kaylee's dad.
We have a lot of resources that we're utilizing, but we still ask for your help. We ask for.
I'll back that up.
I know there's been some questions about the leadership in this investigation. What I want people to know is this is a Moscow Police Department investigation. We're utilizing the resources of the FBI and the state police, but we pick the investigators. My command team oversees this. We have 94 years of experience between us, and we're going to continue to work this case. We're going to continue to work it to the completion. We have a lot of resources that we're utilizing, but we still ask for your help. We ask for any tips that you might have, anything that you might be able to give us. We're going to take a look at those. But be assured that this investigation is the Moscow Police Department's, and I am the chief, and we're going to follow through with this. And just know that from the very beginning of this, we've been a unified group, and we make decisions together. But those ultimately, I stand behind to the end.
So yeah, the chief.
Welcome to our.
So it's saying that the grieving father of Kaylee, Steve Goncalves, has to believe that his daughter's killer will be caught. He said he couldn't sleep if it didn't happen or if he didn't think it was going to happen. So we know that it's been 5 weeks. They were attacked on November 13th. No arrests have been made, and they're not telling us of any suspects. Although I have seen quite a few people talking about INAN. I don't know. Hey there, Jess. I don't know if I don't know what they're saying, because they change all the time, don't they? So are they saying that they have nobody, or are they keeping this to themselves? Are they suspecting family, neighbors, friends? It's wide open still, guys. So he added that the family is trying to do everything to help and trying to collaborate with law enforcement with this case basically going on. We know that Steve Goncalves has been extremely okay, Mexi, sounds great. Sorry, I'll get back to that. So what is law enforcement doing? Do you think that they've got enough help? Do you think that the feds are doing enough? Do you think that the state dudes are doing enough? Right now, they're working on finding that car. Everyone basically got a little bit sidetracked with that car that they found, what is it, like 500 miles away. So Steve Goncalves is now saying he is glad that the police are now calling on the public for help in tracking down this car. So they are saying that it was seen right around the crime scene at the time this happened. They're not saying where this information came from. We do know that these kids were all attacked while they were sleeping. There is a possibility that Ethan and Xana woke up, because from what we're learning, I mean, we don't know this for sure, as we know the police aren't saying much, but it does sound like they fought back. So there's a possibility that they were awoken by what happened upstairs. So as we know, the Hyundai Elantra is a 2011, 2013, and was seen on the early hours of November 13th. They are saying that they do believe that the individual or individuals, which I still find interesting, they are still wording that as if there could be 2 people in that car. So I don't know what that means to you guys. Do you think that that means that somebody has come from a different area? Because I don't understand. Say it was John Jack or Jack D. They both live very close, so they would not have needed a car to get away. Very curious, very curious. That is definitely something that they're keeping to themselves. So they did say on Tuesday that they confirmed that they did look at that vehicle in Eugene, but has absolutely nothing to do with this case. They've even talked to the owner of that car. It's a woman, and definitely not related. So the attorney for the Goncalves, Shannon Gray, said that he thinks the community will help solve this. And the more information that can be shared with law enforcement, the better the chances are. So things are still coming out. Are you guys at all wondering what is going on as far as their information? Do you think that there is still a lot of people out there keeping their lips sealed and not sharing anything? We know that there's at least one, possibly two, but is there more? It's got to be one of the saddest cases that I've seen in a long time. Basically, like Steve Goncalves is saying, they're left in the dark. But we do know that a lot of times this is the way it has to be. They do have a liaison with the families now, and they pass on as much information as they can. But as they know, a lot has to be held back. So they're saying that we've asked everybody to be patient and trust what they're doing as they continue to move on through this case. The family has raised concerns, but are beyond grateful, they're saying. I mean, they've got some rookies that are in charge of this case, and it concerns them. But myself, I mean, although they might be rookies in law enforcement, they are vets, which means they have a lot of skills from that experience that might actually help out. So to date, it says dozens of law enforcement officials from multiple agencies have been assigned to the case. We know that they've added more FBI. It's up to 60, I do believe. We do know that Xana and Ethan were found on the second floor, and Maddie and Kaylee were found on the third floor, and the two girls downstairs pretty much slept through the night. So it's saying that on the night of November 12th, both Xana and Ethan were at a sorority party at Sigma Chi House, and they got there between 8 and 9 p.m., and they got home about 1:45 a.m. So it's still saying in some things that it's unclear where they were for the 5-hour gap, but there's also a lot of people saying that they were still at that party. So still a couple things unconfirmed as far as that goes. And we do know that the scene was not discovered until the two girls on the bottom floor woke up and basically seen the second floor and got an idea that something really bad had happened. So they started making those 911 calls. They're not saying from which phone or which girl, but they are saying that people seen the girls out in the front yard where they keep the cars, and they were losing it. So they went up to see what was happening, and as doing so, the one with the phone passed out. So this is where the multiple people talking to law enforcement happened, because those people did help with the phone call. And that is when law enforcement showed up. So guys, let me see here. So what are you guys thinking about this? Do you think the families are getting enough information? Do you think this is quite normal for what goes on in these cases? Or do you think that there's more to this, and maybe they don't have the training, I guess, or skills? Like I said, I don't feel too bad, because I think they called in the right people at the right time. So I find this quite interesting as well. The killer's 3-minute escape route. So this was basically mapped out, I think, by Brian Enton. He took his vehicle and showed all the different ways to get out of there. So many questions remain unanswered after a month of the college students were brutally unalived in their beds in Moscow, Idaho. They give all the kids' names and where they were. And it says here that Brian Enton recently attempted to retrace the guy's steps after he fled the scene, mapping out a possible escape route, which leads to a very rural area in just 3 minutes. I was playing with Google Maps this morning, and literally it's like a straight shot. They go from the house straight to that little path and straight into Bandfield. So instead of fleeing via town, the unaliver might have taken a much more rural route, he said. In the video that they put out, he was seen driving down an alleyway from the campus on King Road. And Brian Enton pointed out that the houses and apartments line each other on the side of the road. Most of the people there are students. So this would be where Brian was driving. And here is the 4 kids. He proceeded on to Taylor, where an officer had been responding to a report of students for underage drinking. So we know that that happened not far from Sigma Chi in Banfield. And that's where they were able to get that footage of the house, you know, all those kids kind of going by in the dark. There was possibly up at the house, they're not knowing if it was a light in the house or if there was a vehicle sitting up there, but you could see that light basically right by the house. That house, one thing about it is it was up. You could see it from anywhere. So he was also saying that the area is very busy and that it would have been a lot quieter, of course, around 3 a.m. It's packed in, it's dense, a lot of apartment buildings, and not a lot of wooded areas. So he said he came to the intersection on Highway 95, and that is the main drag that goes through Moscow. It's Highway 95, and then it turns onto Main Street, and you carry on. So police have been looking at the video from that gas station where the white car was spotted on surveillance speeding past the gas station on the night that this happened. If the unaliver made it right at that gas station, they could have fled the scene without attracting too much attention, he said. There's another picture of him driving. Gets very rural quickly. He said that there's an elementary school out there, but not a lot of cameras and not a lot of houses, not a lot of businesses. So, and that has been something that's been holding everybody back, is the lack of cameras in this town. They were so comfortable. They had no serious unalivings, well, no unalivings for 7 years. So everyone felt extremely safe. But we do know, which I find very odd, is that somebody skinned and filleted that little dog. They're saying this has got no relation to this crime, but what the hell? What the hell? And then we don't know if it's the same person, different person, but they've been going out and shooting coyotes, and this started in 2017. And then they started leaving these opened carcasses, spread things around a little bit, and left them either on fraternity houses in their property or sorority houses. And there has been a fair amount in the last while. Again, they're saying it's not related. So it has been 2 weeks that they have been searching for this Hyundai, and they're saying that it was spotted in the immediate area of the house. On Tuesday, police confirmed that the vehicle matching the description of the mystery car had been reported to Eugene, Oregon. So that is that car that everybody was kind of getting, let's say, a little bit, they're getting their hopes that possibly that could have been this vehicle. But no, it turned out to be that woman's in, I think it was Colorado. Hey, Mexi, let's see, yeah. I think after a few things Kaylee's dad has said, they might not be willing to share as much info with the family now. You know what? I totally agree. Like, you know, you feel really bad for that Steve, but at the same time, he spoke too much. He was giving out information that we really should not have. And of course, media gets a hold of that information and it goes viral very, very fast. This is a case that's been being followed by pretty much every news outlet, all the sleuths that are on YouTube. All of us are chasing things down. But with that said, we have to be very careful as to what we share, even ourselves. We have to have a little bit of respect and do our due diligence. So let's see here. This is something else that's concerning, guys. National media becomes aggressive towards the Moscow residents. So let me see here. Who does? I don't want to strike. Let's just make sure I can. Small town becomes big story.
With all the speculation, rumors floating around online, there's also been a great deal of sensationalism on the national level. According to residents in Moscow, some people related to the case have been harassed and even followed home by national correspondents. Today, Nonstop Local's North Idaho reporter John Webb spoke with residents in the town and a Pullman radio news anchor who's covered the Palouse for many years.
What's going on? Have we got a bit of a glitch? Let's try this again.
With all the speculation, rumors floating around online, there's also been a great deal of sensationalism on the national level. According to residents in Moscow, some people related to the case have been harassed and even followed home by national correspondents. Today, Nonstop Local's North Idaho reporter John Webb spoke.
You know, here we go again. Things are coming out that should not come out. People are saying things they should never say. And when they start going after the families, no, 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 no. And now mainstream media has started doing this. You know, they're going out and pushing residences for information. They're just doing a lot of really unethical things with this case.
Both residents in the town and a Pullman radio news anchor who's covered the Palouse for many years. John.
How come we run into trouble when we get to John? What's going on with John? Okay, well, we won't worry about John. So it's saying that with all the speculation floating around online surrounding the Moscow homicides, there's been a great deal of sensationalism on the national level. According to residents in Moscow, some people related to the case have been harassed and even followed home by national reporters. The morning news anchor for News Talk for the Palouse said, out of his 2 decades of covering the area, he's never seen anything like this, especially on a national level. Yeah, it's disgusting, guys. A respectful journalist on the Palouse said he's actively steered clear of gossip on the University of Idaho case to keep a clean mind and only rely on official information from the Moscow Police Department. But, you know, he did say that's not easy. It's harder every day. And it's just because they are being tight-lipped, as they need to, in my opinion. I've heard this firsthand from certain folks in law enforcement of getting followed home and trying to get tracked down in parking lots. You see, that's scary. It's very aggressive efforts from national media types and even the press conferences. And John, I know you've probably noticed it as well. So he said he thinks the behavior has skirted the line between what's acceptable and what isn't. I don't think it's skirting the line anymore. I think it's like gone way, way too far. There's a few members in the media who I felt were overly aggressive and borderline unprofessional in terms of trying to push these people when you know they weren't going to give you more information. The same goes for the UI engineering student, Ross Dunworth, who's lived on the Palouse for 17 years. He said his friends have been aggressively approached by national reporters. I have some friends that have, been there. Although a different message came from Idaho State Police Wednesday, Aaron Snell, Idaho State Police Public Information Officer, told Nonstop local Sean Owsley that the media are its partner and that good journalism helps the case. Good journalism does, but it doesn't sound like that's what they're getting. So he also said, we truly believe the media is our partner in helping us get the message out. I think social media is doing a great job too. There's some people that have crossed lines, whether it's mainstream or whether it's internet sleuths. There's been crossing the line on different cases for a long time. So, and as we know, it's not all people, it's just certain people that are pulling this crap. And it's just something that cannot happen. So let's see here. Hello, Shauna. Nice to see you. Okay, here. Ah, okay. I do what Mexi taught me. There we go. So this one here is talking about the fact that they've increased or planning on increasing let me get this on, security for the campus. You know, those kids need to feel a little bit more comfortable. So I don't know if I can just watch. Oh, is that what we got? All righty then. Well, that's not very much now, is it? So it says they'll be bolstering its security presence on campus and adding several different services for students returning to school for the spring semester. And they are giving the option of doing things virtually, which, I mean, in some cases they cannot do it. It's got to be hands-on. But there are a lot of courses that they can do virtually. And if that's what they have to do to feel safe, it's awesome that the campus is offering this. So yeah, like I said, they will have increased law enforcement, increased security. School is offering several programs related to self-defense and stalking awareness, vigilance against SA, and it will be hosting campus and community town hall focusing on home safety and working with the fraternity and sorority chapters to bring external experts in to assess chapter facility safety and security. So yeah, they're on it, guys. Questions continue to swirl as the November 13th attack happened. So it's been 5 weeks since the kids were discovered unalived in their 3-story King Road residence, which is interesting. They've blurred out the house on Google Earth. And that's not so surprising, but what I found surprising is they've also blurred out the house of the neighbor, like that little blue thing, a little blue building. So that kind of surprised me to see that. This is them basically taking out the boxes that was retrieved from the Moscow home. And it's the belongings, the personal belongings that they thought the family might have. Several boxes. The men could be seen removing snow. This is interesting too. The same group of men could be seen removing snow from a blue Honda sedan bearing Arizona plates and then driving it away to the tow lot. The vehicle was one of the cars that was towed from the crime scene a week earlier. It is not immediately clear where this vehicle was taken. Officials said they believed the victims were asleep. Okay, let's go back here. So they're looking into this car a little bit more, and I can't remember who that one was owned by. Mexi, if you're still in there, do you remember who owns the blue car? They're giving it a little bit more attention, and I find that interesting. Moscow police officers this is, let's see if this is. If it's the same thing we've been watching, I'll stop it.
I was 17 years old when I took over my family's small farm. Today, we've
We've had right around 1,000 tip in. We're reviewing all those tips.
Well, hi, Dandy.
To ensure that we have individuals who look at those tips and any piece of evidence that they can link to this case, they're doing so.
What about the video evidence? How is that reviewed? What do you do with it?
So we have a special team of individuals who are skilled at watching videos, collecting evidence and information out of those videos and linking them together so that we can tie every piece together for this investigation.
What do you have for an update about the white Hyundai Elantra?
We have many tips that have come in on the 2011 to the 2013 Hyundai Elantra. But what we're asking is anybody else who still hasn't sent in a tip, if you own one or if you know somebody who was driving one the day before or the day after, to please send that tip in.
What about the holidays? What does that mean for the investigation and all the people working on it?
That does not change anything for us. We're going to continue to push through the holidays. We have a team that will continue to do the investigation and work on that as we move through the holidays.
And finally, why is it important to keep digital submissions part of the investigation as it's sorted through?
Well, as our individuals are sorting through that, all that information could be one key piece of investigation. So the review that are looked at and they're looking at any keys that tie together any specific investigative pieces that we need to solve this case.
Yeah. So police revealed, let's see here. Police revealed December 7th that they had gathered information through tips and leads about this Hyundai Elantra being in the immediate area.
His old daughter, who John Benetti urged me look for the suspect trying to put together. What was your tell you about what?
No, based on our what parents keen to be sure they do it. First of all, where this tragedy happened, it's a small town. They had one murder 4 or 5 years ago. The police are not going to be experienced to deal with that, and they don't have the resources to deal with it. And where Boulder failed so miserably in our case is they refused help.
So the fellow that's speaking, it says right on here, this is John Benet Ramsey's dad, and he has gone through hell, as we all know.
It was immediately offered to them by other agencies that did have experience, and Denver offered them 2 homicide detectives full-time at their disposal, and they said, no, we don't need it. So you can't let arrogance coupled with incompetence halt this thing. They've got to say, look, we need help. Let's get it from wherever we can get it. There's lots of help available that could be. But, you know, the way the system works in our country, for the most part, we have 18,000 police jurisdictions. Each one's a little island with.
That's the girls, of course, out there having fun. And we've still got John Jack or Jack Showalter. He's back here doing whatever it is he does.
Authority. And if a crime happens on that island, it's the police chief's responsibility. And if he doesn't ask for help, help cannot come in, which is really silly, but that's the way it works. Well, and in our case, Boulder refused help that was offered, lots of it, and continues to do so today.
Absolutely. And I know that you now want a private lab. A lot of people suspected the family was involved.
the parents' names were cleared after Patsy's passing away?
In our case, and that's what we're asking to be done. You know, DNA test.
Okay, so they're saying, they've been saying this for a while now, that they're going through about 22,000 Hyundai Elantras. That is a shit ton of cars. Actually, I was looking at Google Maps this morning. I was just Google Earth. I was kind of just going through like that sorority row in there. And I found this Elantra sitting there. I did put it in, but I don't know what year it is. I don't know anything about cars. I'm just noticing that over time, there is a lot of these little white cars. And white is a very popular color, I'm noticing. So again, they're talking about how much evidence that they've gone through, 44,000 photos, and they're up to about 10,000 tips right now. So this is why everything's going through the FBI. They are way better staffed and able to deal with all of this faster than the town itself. This lady is wonderful. Ex-FBI.
Back to Sunday night in America. A little over a month ago, college staff and their campus home at the Idaho. The murder has not been completed. No suspect has been identified. Information has been slow sometimes and created. Where are we to get there? Be an arrest and successful prosecution for the special agent in O'Connor for us. Is there some new evidentiary development or something that you hope that progress is being made on developing a suspect?
Well, I was in Idaho last week and I spoke at length to Kaylee's parents, and they've been informed that the investigation is moving in the right direction. And I really love to hear that. And while we were there, we told them how much these law enforcement officers want to give them good news. And that was really comforting to them, and a really, obviously, just extraordinarily sad time. There are things that are happening right now. There are some things that are slowing things down. For example, finals were Friday night, so the whole town is pretty much empty. And in order to have
So exactly what she just said. What if this person is part of the university system and lives in a different state? All of a sudden, everybody's gone for Christmas. So what does that do to the case? Do they zero in on somebody? And then we do know that the FBI is helping them in all these different states. I'd like to know how this works, because that just sounds like holy hell, a hard case. I understand why it's taking so long. They've had to deal with things that they just had Thanksgiving. This happened, and then Thanksgiving came, and everybody left at that time. So they've had a lot of things hold them back as far as this case goes.
an in-person interview or, talk to someone again. Normally the cops would just go out right to their house and bring them in and talk to them. But in this particular instance, they're having to send leads to either FBI offices or to local police departments throughout the country where these kids, went home for the holidays. So there are a lot of things that are causing this thing to slow down. And a lot of them have also to do with the forensic evidence that they took into custody. Apparently, this evidence was actually layered,
So they're talking now about layered evidence. So that is basically, we'll let her explain it. She explains it best. But this is part of the reason even DNA is difficult to pin down at this point.
which is very difficult to work with and pull apart and put into its own little bucket where, for example, if the shoe impressions with snow and dirt and rocks and blood all have to be separated out and, tested. So there are just so many moving parts, but them working in the going in the right direction meant a lot to me.
All right, Special Agent, I know the Bureau has a robust behavioral science unit. Some states do.
That are just renowned behavioral scientists, and we talk about case work all the time, and we have a almost daily text chain. They both told me that the the victim that received the most severe wound would be the one that was the initial target of this attack.
So that's kind of what we're thinking as well. So she's going to make another point here as to why these injuries may point to another person instead of the actual target.
Now, there's also the chance that one of the victims fought back hard and really said something terrible to overexcite the offender, and then he gave her the worst end of the brutal attack.
All right, you touched on something. I mean, look, I know police want to tell the family and friends of victims as much as they can, but sometimes they cannot because it will jeopardize the investigation. How do you reconcile that tension between, I mean, there's no one in the world that feels the loss of these four more than their parents and their siblings and their family, but yet you don't want to jeopardize the investigation. So how do you balance those two tensions?
Well, it's a very dicey and very delicate dance that you have to do with them. But you let them know that your heart and soul are in this case. That you want more than anything to have justice for their child. But in order to do that, there's all kinds of things that you have to keep quiet, because the nature of a victim or the parent is to be emotional, and that's normal, and everyone expects that. But when you're emotional, you have a hard time keeping things close to the vest. So that's where the problem is. That's where the rub is. And that's why.
So this is basically what happened with Steve Gone Calves. Emotions are going to be raging. Can you imagine? But this is kind of where it runs into trouble, is where you show information with a family member and then they share that with the media. All of a sudden, that little piece of information, as far as, things go to court, there's problems now.
Having these conversations with them, keeping open lines of communication is crucial.
All right, stabbing four people is not a federal crime usually, but the feds have resources other departments do not have. Do you have a sense of how involved the FBI is? Are they helping when asked, or are they kind of co-partners in this investigation?
Well, the case belongs to Moscow PD and the
So I'm not sure. A lot of people don't really know this. The FBI does not take over these cases. They do get, if they're crossing state lines and there's, certain things, yeah, it's federal. But something like this, they come in as a helping agency, not as the main agency. We ran into this with the Dylan Rounds case with Box Elder. Candace, really, Dylan's mom, has big problems with the Box Elder police and this investigation, or almost lack of investigation when it comes to Dylan. So this is the thing. You can't, even though you really, really want to, you cannot get the feds to take over the case. That's just not something that they do. But they are there for support in a very large way.
FBI has a program where if you're a local municipal law enforcement agency and you have something that's outside of your bounds, you can actually request for support from the FBI, and it's support to the locals. We do it all the time, and it's a very successful program. So I think they're very, very involved, especially with all the social media stuff, all the IT stuff. There are so many students from this school that were at these parties that are commenting on forums such as Reddit or 4chan, and 4chan is anonymous. So it's very, very difficult to find out who the person is that
So yeah, that is the thing. There is a lot of information being put on Reddit, and I don't know about 4chan. I'll have to look it up. I've never heard of it. But that is the thing. A lot of the tips and things that should be going to the law enforcement are going on to these sites instead. My computer's just kind of doing its own thing right now. So, yeah. What do you guys think of that? Okay, let's see. It's only been 5 or 6 weeks. Yeah, and that is the thing. 5 or 6 weeks. November 13th, just like Mexi says. So this case has got so much going on. There's so many moving parts that it's not a surprise to me that this is the time frame. There is so much testing that has to go on, and we know that testing like for DNA and what have you, it takes a little bit of time. And she was just talking about having to separate and do layers. Can you imagine how long that would take? I've heard so many different things in this case. I'm having a hard time sifting through it. I feel for law enforcement at the moment, kind of. Right? Yeah. Yeah. They're doing their best. And they just put that, I can't remember his name right now. On the video I did yesterday, they just put he's a rookie cop, like I was saying earlier. He's now lead. So people are complaining about that. But you know what? Like I said, he might have some extra skills we just are not aware of. Bliff, calm down, people. Look at Delphi getting a presser once a year if they were lucky. Well, and that's right, Blifton. The thing is they, like you say, once a year, they gave out information that they thought needed to get out, and then they were tight-lipped. Right? Exactly, Blifton. I feel bad for Ellie involved. I can't imagine how traumatizing it must be while trying to solve this. Right, Dandy? Can you imagine walking into this scene? Oh my God. I mean, it's what nightmares are made of. So the house on King Road, a look at the Moscow home what the heck? Let's see what this is. So yeah, there's, new names like Adam, who lived or lives with, as far as I know, this is what they're saying, that lives with John D, that Maddie said something to that night. This might be clear. Let's see.
Thousand tips come in. We're reviewing all those tips. We're checking to ensure that we have individuals and people that link to this. So,
Evidence reviewed. What do you do with it?
So we have a special team of individuals who are skilled at watching videos, collecting evidence and information out of those videos and linking them together so that we can tie every piece together for this investigation.
What do you have for an update about the white Hyundai Elantra?
We have many tips that have come in on the 2011 to the 2000.
That's not surprising considering they have 22,000 of them out there.
2013 Hyundai Elantra. But what we're asking is anybody else who still hasn't sent in a tip, if you own one or if you know somebody who was driving one the day before or the day after, to please send that tip in.
What about the holidays? What does that mean for the investigation and all the people working on it?
That does not change anything for us.
So that's comforting to know that they're going to absolutely work right through the holiday season here, because I can tell you the family, at least one of the families, would be going ballistic if they were not, right?
We're going to continue to push through the holidays. We have a team that will continue to do the investigation and work on that as we move through the holidays.
And finally, why is it important to keep digital submissions part of the investigation as it's sorted through?
Well, as our individuals are sorting through that, all that information could be one key piece for this investigation. So they're reviewing all that, they're looking at that, and they're looking for any keys that tie together any specific investigative pieces that we need to solve this case.
So let's see here if there's any information in here that we are unaware of. So it's describing the house as a gray 6-bedroom, 3-bathroom house that continues to be the source of national attention. So it says that they signed a 12-month lease that began on June 5th and that it's through a property management firm. This is just, to me, such an amazing picture. I mean, this is the last picture of everybody together. And look at the smiles. That's a bunch of happy kids. Let's see here. Oh, that's right. There is photos from the rental listing. And I do believe we've gone through it. I'll see what this is. No, we don't need that. So just the home is just north of the university's New Greek Row, where many fraternities and sorority activities take place. There are about 1,600 students that are members of the school's fraternities and sororities. So that is about 23% of the roughly 7,000 undergraduate students that were enrolled in 2022. So Kaylee was a member of Alpha Phi sorority, while Maddie and Xana were members of, I think it's Phi Beta Phi. One of the roommates is also Pi Phi, and always called Maddie her big sister. In a letter she wrote, she said that she appeared in multiple photos reviewed by the Statesman, including with Funk, one of the sorority's Facebook pages. It's saying that there are many renters around that area. It is very populated with basically fraternity kids and sorority kids. Surrounding the Greek life environment contributed to what those familiar with the neighborhood describe as a loud party culture. And I would think so, right? I know some people said that what was very unusual about that night is that it was quiet. It's never quiet. So let's see here. This is the house. So I don't know if I can get that any bigger. I don't think so. So here's the house. And it's basically a straight shot. There's a little path in here that takes you to Banfield and then straight to where Ethan was living. We do know that there was some noise complaints a while back. There was a couple of them, but it was handled. And I mean, nothing really happened. They just told everybody to calm down. And that one set of footage, that one piece of footage is out where you can hear Maddie actually talking on the phone with one of the cops. And yeah, here we go here. So Moscow Police Sergeant Dustin Blaker said in the footage, I guarantee you they're a source associated with a sorority. So here's the first floor where the girls were when this happened. Sadly, the second floor is where Ethan and Xana were found. And then the third floor, we know that Maddie and Kaylee were found in one room. They shared a room that night. So it says the first floor, all of the tenants except the sixth unnamed person on the lease who police said had moved out before the start of the school year were home that night. 5 housemates along with Ethan were all back at the King Road house by 1:56. And we do know that there was a bunch of calls that were made, indicating that the attack did happen after they placed the last phone call at 12:52. And they were phoning, trying to get a hold of Jack Decor, which is Kaylee's ex. And nobody really knows why those calls were happening. Possibility that they were just drunk calls, right? So, okay. This is out front, would be right here. And then that door, you walk in, and it's straight shot up the stairs. So you have to go around the stairs into the hallway, and then you get into bedroom 1. There is a little closet just outside her door. And if you're heading back the other way, there's the bathroom and then the other bedroom. So this bedroom here, bedroom B, is the one that when they had that footage from that noise complaint, the cop kind of looked in there and you could see the room from his camera. And that was where those golf clubs and what have you were. So the second floor. So here's the stairways that we've seen, and it comes straight into a hallway. You go into the kitchen, and then from the kitchen, there's those sliding doors onto the porch. And we've seen a lot of pictures of this particular sliding door. They've got a lot of tape and what have you on this door, plus on the window that's off to the side. And then they've also got in this area in here, there's pictures of the stools laying down. And from what I've learned, the police did this. This is what I've heard. The police did this basically to make it so nobody would use that because there was evidence on it. So you come out from the sliding doors, you go through the kitchen, and then if you want to go to the third floor, you go straight up. So it's basically just around the corner. And if you go straight, instead of going up the stairs, you go into what they're saying was an empty room, but we do not know for sure. That it has not been confirmed. So from there, if you come back out of that room and turn, you've got your living room. And it's a nice size. We've seen lots of pictures of that. So if you go a little bit further from the stairs, you come up the stairs, you come into the living room, and if you turn right and keep going, bedroom C here, this is where Ethan and Xana were sleeping. There are rumors that Ethan was found outside of the bedroom, but there's also rumors that he was found in the kitchen. So I have no way of confirming that. That's just the stuff that's floating around right now. So we're on the third floor, which means those stairs that we just looked at here, that you come from the kitchen, zip around, go straight up the stairs into a hallway. One way leads you into the bathroom, and the other way takes you into what used to be Kaylee's bedroom with the sliding doors. She did have the balcony, which stretched right across in front of Maddie's room, which is bedroom E. So this is the room that the girls were both found in. Kaylee had moved out or was in the process of moving out. This was the end of her school year. She was supposed to graduate the end of that last semester. So we're thinking that her bedroom was either really packed up or was already packed right up. And there's the house there. We also know that Kaylee shared a dog, Murphy, with her ex, Jack D. And Murphy was with them in the house. Now, the dog was found in another room and never seen anything that went on. He was in that room the entire time. So I guess in my mind, I want to know, did Kaylee put him in, like, say, a spare bedroom or old bedroom or something? Or did someone come in who loved that dog and put the dog in a separate room? So yeah, Murphy did not see any of that chaos. Let's see here. I keep an eye out. They could be anywhere, any new college kids home around here, right? There we go. Thank you so much, Blifton. You're awesome. I can't imagine the energy it would take to do this. Physical. Right, Shauna? I couldn't agree more. I can't see how this would be a female doing this. Whoever this was, in my opinion, was full of rage. It takes a lot of strength, from what I've heard, to unalive one person that way, and this person did 4 people this way. It sounds to me like a fairly strong person and very pissed off and determined person. As we know, he brought that weapon with him. Aw, Shauna, that's too bad. That's too bad. We'd love to have you there. You've always got great ideas. Absolutely. Mexi saw an interview with Steve G. He said they wouldn't be celebrating this year and they were sending the youngest to the other family so they could at least have some normalcy. Yeah, I've heard the same thing. They're not going to do the Christmas thing this year. And I wouldn't either. Good Lord. I cried when I heard that. All these families are so freaking devastated. Absolutely. I was watching somebody this morning. I don't usually watch this channel, but I went on and holy hell. This person was going after Inan Harsh, spent 2 hours zeroing in on Inan. Now, I'm not saying this guy's innocent as the last thing I'm saying, but what I am saying is for somebody to spend that much time talking about somebody outside of the case is going to start all sorts of rumors, all sorts of stories. So, I mean, it's still happening in social media. I was pretty disgusted when I seen them doing this. Yeah, it would be depressing, Blifton. Like, I think that Christmas will change for that family for a very long time. And Thanksgiving, for that matter. Very sad. Shauna, I've noticed I've been squeezing my own kids a little more lately. It makes you really think, be grateful, and love like no tomorrow. There's no tomorrow, right? And, I say this. Tomorrow is never a guarantee. Spend your day with the people you love, doing the things you love. Tomorrow is never guaranteed. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Thank you, Shauna. Okay, he's got to go. Talk to you soon. And like Shauna said, don't forget to hit the like. Thanks, Mexi. You have a great day. I'll catch up with you later. Bye. Love you, Mexi. Stay safe until the next time. That's right. Absolutely. She's in a place that's a hell of a lot warmer than us. I wonder if I'll show you. I'm going to share this. This is out my window. Gotta love the Rockies. That was our view this morning. It was minus 40 Celsius, minus 40. Yeah. Were you able to see that? So, other than that, guys, I think that's what I've got for now. What do you guys think about this Adam and John thing? Adam, the bartender, living with John D. Do you think that there could be anything that correlates with that conversation that may have happened? Do you think that this is somebody who lived close and may have been watching this house? Do you think that just somebody who didn't like the atmosphere in that house? Or do you think it was targeted? I'd be very interested to know what y'all think. Every time I think that I'm understanding stuff a little bit, something else comes out and it's like, oh my God. There's, like I say, so many of these cars. There's so many people that are so sus. There's things getting in the way, like university is taking breaks. Another thing is this knife that everybody's talking about. It sounds like they're sold at every gas station, every corner store, every drugstore. It sounds like this is due to it being a fairly big hunting area, that these things are it's going to be hard to match that up, I'm thinking, because I think those are going to be everywhere. Yet, I mean, they find DNA in some pretty interesting spots too, don't they? They're able to do some pretty amazing work these days. So thank you guys for hanging out with me. I appreciate you tons. I am going to keep my eye open again today. I would love to see something happen before Christmas with this case. Not too sure, but those are my hopes for the family and for the town, and get whoever did this, or get them. If we're going by that car that could possibly have more than one person, let me know what you think about that as well. Do you think there was somebody, a getaway driver? Do you think there was possibly two people that were attacking? Let me know. Email me, message me in here, whatever works. So guys, for now, I'm going to say cheers, and I will absolutely see you in the next one. Bye.